Welcome back to another episode of Lifting the Lid, and today I'm here with my co-host,
singular,
Lucy.
I'm really scared.
Seran is absent on a very exciting day out with one of our Sonias.
Yeah, they're doing an event. We can't say a huge amount about it right now, but it's really, really cool. And I actually miss her a lot. I was feeling quite nervous on the way here.
Yeah, I know. And next week I'm doing a solo episode.
I feel scared for you. Like, this even alone is scary. Like, I need an extra chair here. Maybe I should hold Seran's pillow in her absence, just like in memory of her. But yeah, we miss you, Seran. And I feel like Verity's interviewing me again. Like, this is scary.
We're going to give you a re-recording of Lucy's interview to join.
I thought you were about to say you were going to re-interview me, like, so, see if you can keep your job now. Like,
no, definitely not. Q4 has been Q4ing, but that's very exciting. Lots of very, very exciting things that happened. One thing that I just wanted to say, which was crazy, right? The last episode, I think it was the last episode, we had a break last week, but it was the episode before that. We were like, do you know what? None of our Sonias have ever worked with John Lewis.
I know!
Guess what happens?
Twice. Two Sonias.
Since we last spoke to you guys, 2 Sonias have worked with John Lewis.
And one of the Sonias literally screen recorded that bit and sent it to us. Yeah. Like, guys, when did you record this? And we were like, literally, possibly the day before.
Yeah.
And I think we manifested it.
We did. I think we did.
It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. And also, none of our creators have ever worked with Net-a-Porter.
Chanel, Dior. Any other brands out there that our creators haven't worked with, let us know. We can talk about you on the pod and then work on a campaign together.
Just watch that space, guys. Watch that space.
That was pretty crazy, though.
It was.
Crazy times.
So that's been happening in the Q4 chaos. But yeah, so the next, we're mixing things up. Yeah. We're having a solo app with me. We're having an episode with just me and Lucy because we want to keep providing the goods.
Yeah.
But we can't necessarily combine all of our diaries together for this 1 hour.
Honestly, it was giving chaos when we were trying to plan it because I was off on annual leave last week and then we're going on a team trip next week and it was just... Yeah, Q4 is Q4ing. And if I had £1 for every time Verity Park has said that this week,
every single meeting,
I would be rich.
On this podcast.
Every email, the start.
Yeah. Someone did say the other day, they were like, oh, I quite enjoy that. I was like, well, that's good because you might hear it again from me very shortly. And also, we'll just quickly address the fully matching outfits.
It's not good, guys.
And I don't know why, but this is something that we regularly do.
Honestly, so one of our lovely Sonias, Rihanna, well, I don't know why I called her Sonia because I'm going to call her Rihanna, hosted a dinner 2 weeks ago now to celebrate her community, the Re Club, turning 2, which is so cool and we're so proud of her and we're actually in really exciting conversations about things coming up for the Re Club. So it's just so nice to celebrate. It was such an amazing group of women who have been a part of Rihanna's journey with the Re Club, past and present. And we go to this dinner, right? And it's at the Hoxton, with our lovely friends at the Hoxton. And previously, Verity and I had a call, and maybe around 4 o'clock. And I was like, oh, Verity, you're already ready. Like, I'm still in my joggers and my hoodie, but you look lovely. And she was like, yep. And she showed me what she was wearing. I was like, great, I will match the vibe. So I matched the vibe. I turn up. Verity's changed. And then we're wearing matching outfits. Like, but it was bad. We need to put in the photo.
We'll producer Sophia, can we insert a photo?
It's bad.
The thing that makes it worse, I think, is the fact that the outfit, as you'll see, was a grey vest over a top.
Yeah.
And that made it look like a uniform.
Yeah,
and obviously we were attending as Ree's management, so it looked like Ree makes us wear this like.
And we had slick Ricks. Yeah, and it was just awful.
It just wasn't good, and it just really tickled me that it looked like Ree, just like that was our uniform as her team.
Yeah, Ree is like, you must wear this as my management. Yeah, that's all you're allowed to wear. And then today, obviously, we've both got the Converse, the blue jean, and I nearly wore a tight black top, so I'm very glad I opted for the black jumper instead.
Yeah, it's our only unique point of difference. Unique.
But also, we're not even just doing the podcast today. We then got a whole day in the office being matching, and then we have something very exciting this evening as well, which we're going to be matching for.
Yeah, we're going to watch Oedipus in the theatre.
Yeah.
James, which is Seran's boyfriend, is performing in.
And we're very, very excited.
Yeah, a little team trip to the theatre. So as we say, there has been a lot going on. But one thing that has been going on, which I feel like has been everywhere, is Wicked.
Oh.
And we are, as we've just talked about the theatre, We are theatre
Girlies.
girlies. We are. We
love it. We were in the office the other day. You weren't in, and we had the Wicked soundtrack blasting in the office. We had to ask Emily, the office manager, if she would mind. I said, would you be offended if I played Dancing Through Life? And she was like, no, it's so fine. But yeah, Wicked has been absolutely everywhere. It's actually insane. And I will say, like, my kind of journey with the Wicked movie started a whole month before it actually came out, which was so cool. We couldn't talk about it at the time, but the lovely Hannah from our roster got invited to what I believe was the first ever screening of the movie in the UK, and there was only 15 people invited, and they each got to bring a +1, and she very kindly took me, and oh my gosh, it was the best day of my life. It was sensational. I got an Alphabet Barbie, I got a broom, I got a tiara, I got a Wicked popcorn. And we were both a mess, the two of us. It was so funny. And we were in the toilets before and we said, do we think everyone will be as unhinged about this situation as we are?
I think yes, because I think a lot of the creators they invited as well, like, were theatre creators.
Yeah,
so I think it really meant something to them.
Oh, it was such an amazing group of people. And like the vibe in the cinema was just incredible. Everyone was so excited. But yeah, the creator world has gone crazy for the Wicked movie.
And then, so obviously there was the pre-screening, which you watched with Hannah. And then there was also the premiere, which 2 of our Sonias went along to, which is really exciting.
And they looked beautiful.
Stunning.
The only thing I did feel so bad for the whole premiere about was it was absolutely chucking it with rain that day. And you see everyone on the carpets with their umbrellas. Like, how Hannah and Lou still looked so flawless on that carpet, I don't understand. I would have looked like a drowned rat.
Yeah.
But they both looked amazing, and I think they had an incredible evening, and yeah, it's just been so cool.
And what did you think of the film?
10 out of 10. Sensational. Ariana Grande for me, standout performance.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Incredible.
And I've been obsessed with watching every behind the scenes thing I can get my hands on.
But also, Cynthia, I feel like she portrayed so much emotion.
Yeah.
Like, I was in tears at so much of it. Like,
you could tell how much it meant to both of them.
Yeah.
And they've always said they just wanted to take really good care of Elphaba and Glinda because they mean so much to so many people, and they really did.
They did. I actually couldn't fault them at all.
No. And I feel like for me, Ariana really is the one that stood out in my head because I was concerned. As a theatre girly, I was like, oh my gosh, is this pop star going to come and ruin my Glinda? But like, I knew Cynthia would be sensational because she is Cynthia and she is an icon. But Ariana really surpassed any expectation I had. And obviously Jonathan Bailey as well was amazing. And it was just 100 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I really didn't expect myself to cry because I'm not as much of a theatre girly as you. I do like the theatre, but and I've watched Wicked a couple of times. But I think it was Cynthia that made me cry.
Yeah.
Like, I think I really felt it. Yeah.
One thing I actually watched yesterday was Amber Davies' podcast, Call to Stage. I believe it's called Call to Stage now because it was renamed for the 2nd season. And I'm sure everyone listening knows who Amber Davies is, but Amber Davies actually went to Erdang, which is actually where I trained, and then she obviously went on Love Island and kind of did the more like Love Island-y influencer-y world stuff, and then has made her way back to theatre. She's recently been in Pretty Woman. I saw her in Bring It On. She is sensational and a force to be reckoned with. She is so talented. But she did a massive press junket, but she turned it into a podcast episode, which I thought was really clever, for her podcast of interviewing everyone. And she also interviewed the director. And it was just amazing to see her, like, as a creator who has, like, kind of, she's done the creator world and the theatre world, like seeing her in that space, speaking to the cast, and really bringing it to her audience, which was just like the perfect fit.
Yeah. And I think, so her podcast is produced by Universal, I think, which probably made that whole setup kind of possible. But she was like, the fact that she's positioned herself for so long as the creator to be able to take that on, because obviously her podcast is interviewing people in that space. So yeah, I haven't actually seen that, but I have to watch it.
Oh, you should watch it. It's so good. And you know what is so crazy? It's on the day, so her sister, Jade Davies, who's also sensational and has recently been in Les Mis, and she's currently 2nd cover Elphaba on the UK tour of Wicked.
Wow.
She made, I'm pretty sure it was her Elphaba debut on the day that Amber was interviewing the Wicked cast. Her sister made her debut as Elphaba. How crazy is that?
That is
amazing. I love it. Sorry, I know this isn't a theatre podcast, but I could talk about this all day.
So really, we should have been wearing pink and green rather than the matching Converse outfit.
Producer Sophia is wearing pink. She is giving Glinda in the corner. Oh, and Harry, are you wearing green? Kind of. Pink goes good with green.
So as well as Wicked, it is also I'm a Celeb season. Obviously, we had Nella Rose last year. Who was kind of, I think Nella Rose was the first like digital creator to be on there, like the digital first creator to be on there. I think before that was like Jacqueline Josser, who's more like
and like Sam Thompson was from TV originally.
GK Barry's on there, who's obviously TikTok first. And I think she is doing TikTokers proud.
She is amazing. Like, it's also so nice to see like her in a more long form version. Like, obviously she has her podcast, but she's usually interviewing other people. She's not really talking about herself. But her socials are obviously a lot of the time very like comedy focused and jokey, but like seeing her have such honest conversations in the jungle, like she's been having so many conversations with Reverend Richard, I think his name is,
and loving that duo.
It's iconic, but just hearing her speak about things that we wouldn't have heard her speak about before, and being so open and honest, and I love how amazed she is by it all.
I know. And it's also like, because typically I guess she has her kind of persona that it's not a persona, but it kind of is, I guess it's an exaggerated
GK
version
Barry.
of her. And you can still see that there, but it's kind of like the raw and real version of her, which is just so lovely.
She does say there's a difference between like Grace and GK Barry. And I think that we're getting to see so much of Grace, and it does make me laugh that Ant and Dec keep calling her GK. It makes me die. I'm like, her name is Grace. And like some of the people in camp at the start all called her GK, and I was like, this is so weird, this is not her name. But then Ant and Dec actually like addressed it and said,
I didn't see that.
When we speak about Grace, we say GK Barry, but when we talk to Grace, we say Grace. And I think it's just causing a bit of confusion. But I think she's absolutely smashing it. And it's just so cool to see that actually, I would say almost every single time we have one of these programs, whether it be Dancing on Ice, Strictly, I'm a Celeb, there's always a digital creator on it now. Like we obviously had Tasha on Strictly this year, and she is amazing. And like, I just think that all was born from your Zoe Sugg on Bake Off and Joe Sugg on Strictly, and
them
just
seeing
epic.
What that did to the viewing figures. Like ITV are identifying that if you bring on a very, very engaged digital talent, they will up the viewing figures. They will bring those younger audiences over. And I'm watching for GK Barry.
100%.
Like
100%.
I'm loving seeing her in that environment. Like I'm loving it, like sort of opening the door for TikTok first creators. I mean, like thinking like 4 years we'll probably have Snapchat first creators going on.
That is actually crazy to think. Get a Sonia in the jungle next year. That would be amazing.
I would love a Sonia in the jungle.
Sonia for the jungle. No specific Sonia. Any Sonia.
Any Sonia. And I feel like our Sonias would do very well in the jungle because they're wholesome queens.
That is true. That is true. But I would be so stressed. Like, I feel like it would be almost like watching my child in the jungle. I don't want to watch them with rats crawling on them.
No.
I'd be scared.
I think if I was to do any like reality TV show, that would be the one I'd want to do.
Oh.
Really? Would you not want to?
Absolutely not. I'd want to do Dancing on Ice. What?
That makes sense to you.
Yeah.
What do you think Seran would want to do?
Probably none. She doesn't like being in the limelight.
True.
Maybe Strictly?
I can't.
Can you imagine her doing the ballroom dance? No, I don't think she'd want to do any. She'd be like, Verity, don't make me do it.
Lucy and I have an agreement that if Brave the musical ever comes up and ever happens, then Lucy is allowed to take the break from work to be the lead.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Producer Sophia's just said that Seran will be on Traitors, and that is 100% correct.
So you for Dancing on Ice,
yeah.
Me for I'm a Celeb. So what I'd actually want to do on I'm a Celeb, just to be clear, because obviously I'm not a celeb, is I'd go on there and I'd do that thing. Do you remember in Big Brother, Chantal pretended that she was a celebrity, and I'd do that on I'm a Celeb. So I'd pretend that I was a celebrity to all of them, and if I did it,
you'd win.
We'd win.
Oh, but you know this is all hypothetical because I'm also not a celebrity to go on Dancing on Ice.
Yeah, maybe you'd have to pretend to be one. But then Seran would be on Traitors.
I think we should apply on her behalf. Producer Sophia is on it. But back to GK Barry, our queen of the jungle. We need to talk about her Abbott Lion collection because what I can't decide is that sensational planning, marketing and execution from the whole team involved? Or is it absolutely just a coincidence that it happened at the same time?
I think we need to give some context. So she's pre-shot it, Screaming from the Jungle, because I know you'll love my new GK collection with Abbott Lion that's now live. So it's an ad from GK Barry, which is pre-shot. Like, obviously this is all pre-shot. I just thought that context was needed.
I wonder if, like, 8 months ago, they were like, we want to make a collection. By the way, she's going into the jungle. Let's do the timelines to align. Or has it just happened?
I think it must have all been planned, because I feel like she would have had to have given her permission for that to have gone live.
No, sorry, I'm not explaining myself well. Because obviously creating a jewellery line with Abbott Lion is a long process.
Okay,
or anyone. Going into the jungle, it's a long process. So, like, has it just happened that those timelines have come at the same time? Obviously, she knew the collection was coming out, so pre-shot everything before.
Oh, see, my gut tells me that this was not pre-planned, and that the reason I say that is because I don't know how soon in advance you know that you're going into the jungle.
Yeah, I feel like it almost was a lucky coincidence, but
I think
so smart.
I think it may have been contracted and locked in, and the collection was en route, and then they were like, Grace has got the opportunity to go into the jungle. How can we make the most of this moment?
That's what I think, because I just feel like the Abbott Lion thing must have come first.
Yeah.
And they've just been really, really clever. Everyone has been so smart and thought, how do we maximise this when she's on national television?
Because that post has performed so well.
Wow. And especially because she's coming across so incredibly well in the jungle. Like, it's just amazing.
Maximum reach for Abbott Lion, maximum engagement for Grace.
Yeah, it's a win-win on both sides.
Yeah, and it's obviously been pre-shot, like it's really nice content. So yeah, how exciting.
And a lot of the TikTok content has been making me giggle. Like, it's a lot of it's like jungle related and obviously going out on her socials, and I just think that's so funny.
Yeah, the caption's Screaming from the Jungle.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But you know what does make me feel stressed and unwell is that I know probably Hannah Holland has had to post that on her account. And that would make me feel simply sick if I had to do that for one of my Sonias.
Imagine you just did something that you like accidentally deleted their account.
Oh.
I used to be logged into one of my Sonias the whole time. I was logged into all of my Sonia's accounts.
That's terrifying.
But what was quite strange about it was then they'd get DMs from people and it would like pop up whilst I was trying to do things. And I'd be like, don't want to look. Like, it was just like, I hated it. I was very stressed by the whole thing. Why we love our platform that allows us to get insights
so true
without having to be logged into our creators' accounts.
Yeah, that is very true, because that makes me feel terrified.
However, if any of our Sonias did go into the jungle and had a collection with a brand, I would absolutely do that for them.
Oh, I would do it, but I'd be afraid.
Terrified.
Like Seran, scared at all times.
Spoke a little bit about how in a few years maybe there'll be a Snapchat first creator in the jungle. Let's talk a little bit about Snapchat, because I saw a podcast clip the other day from it was Shameless, wasn't it? You sent it in, and it was all about how the Kardashians are literally just photo dumping pictures on Snapchat, or like probably their assistant or something. It
is wild behavior. Like, they were clicking through Khloe Kardashian, I'm pretty sure it was her story, and it was literally just like Kim in leopard print, Kylie on the beach, love this look for Kendall, and like photos from like 5 years ago. And they were posting like it was just so random. But I think obviously we know that a lot of the Snapchat sort of creator fund rules is based on the quantity of what you post. But for me, I think they were saying that they believe it's the Kardashians' assistant posting it rather than actually them, because it's just so random. There'd be no need for Khloe to actually post that.
Yeah.
And I get that that's to like generate income, but for me, that's not respecting your audience. I'm sorry, that is taking them for mugs just to make you some money.
Yeah, and there has to be a balance, right, between like content that is valuable versus content at scale.
Exactly. And like, yes, Snapchat is a lot more off the cuff. It's a lot more candid. Like, some of our creators like Eloise, Jimbo, Millie, they post very like candid, chatty, unedited content on their Snapchat stories, because that's a lot of what Snapchat is about.
And it's entertaining, that audience. It's kind of current.
Exactly, because it's entertaining and it's not like necessarily adding value, like teaching them a lesson or like speaking about a political view. It's adding value because it's like behind the scenes and interesting and about their life and seeing them in a more natural way maybe than they do on their other platforms. And I just think photo dumping is, in that way, obviously we all love a photo dump, but in that sense is kind of crazy.
Yeah, agree. Just speaking about that and how those creators just kind of post their day as it comes up and post a fair few stories, it got me thinking about how Snapchat is like continuing that de-influencing trend in a way. So there was Instagram, there was like really curated YouTube, then there was Instagram, which was curated images, and then there was TikTok, which was like, whoop, put
this
anything.
is crazy.
Yeah. And now there's Snapchat, which is literally like, have a dip into my life, like this is my life with like completely unedited in some cases, obviously for the Kardashians it's old pictures from the archives, but I do really have this feeling that in 2025 a big trend is going to be not necessarily de-influencing but like the normal person's life.
Yes,
like
100%.
Just this morning I got a Instagram reel through from just this guy, a normal life, normal like kitchen. I don't know what normal is. Obviously, that's just like that's all like, but just relative. Not influencer content.
Yeah, I actually saw a TikTok on my For You page yesterday, and it was like, "Is anyone bored of watching influencers that you used to watch? Like, I just want to watch normal people living their normal lives." But I think we've spoken about this before on the podcast, and obviously, it's such a tricky balance, right? Because as a creator grows and becomes successful, whatever their definition of successful is, but in turn they earn more money, their life changes, it becomes less relatable to the everyday person. We spoke about this a lot about when JC was going to become a full-time creator, and she obviously did that amazing post. But I think it goes back to creators finding the authenticity in like just being themselves. Like, yes, they might drive a fancier car than you or live in a bigger house than you, but like Zoe Sugg, we talk about her all the time, she is still relatable because she's just herself. She's not trying to like push her lavish lifestyle on you. And I think that's where Snapchat is like making creators more relatable because it's less polished.
Yeah, and I think like with Zoe, like she sort of still finds the same things funny and like still sort of, I don't know, just like even like the love you can feel for her family and like how she feels about all of that. You can sense all of that. So that's all relatable. But yeah, I think as the content world is democratized as well and everyone has access to a phone, everyone has access to apps that they can edit, etc. Like there will just be a sea of content from individuals living
normal lives. 100%. And as we see like countless new platforms popping up, like obviously back in the day all we had was YouTube, and now there's YouTube, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, we've got Snapchat, we've got Threads, we've now got this new platform called Blue Sky that I don't know if you've seen.
I haven't. I've heard about it.
Yeah, I saw people post about it on their Instagram stories, like follow me on Blue Sky, and I was like, what the heck is this?
Okay.
So I did a little bit of digging, had a little look into it. To me, it essentially looks like a knockoff of Twitter.
Really?
Or what is now X, but how it used to look as Twitter. Like even the colorings, it's white with a blue logo at the top and it's text first. And it was like number 2 on the social networking charts. When I looked it up, I think producer Sophia said it had like 2 million viewers already. Not viewers, sorry, users already. But I just think we saw that with Threads.
Yeah, what is it adding that Threads isn't?
I don't know. For me, I couldn't see on first look what it's adding. Like maybe we'll come back to this in a couple of months. There might be some more information, but it's very, very new and just almost looks like Threads and X.
But do you remember when we had this with Lemonade?
Yes.
Like there's lots of platforms which have sort of popped up.
Yeah, but I think sometimes it can take a while for a platform to actually catch on. Like if we think about TikTok, for example, like people were posting on TikTok pre-pandemic, but it took the pandemic for it to really explode and go crazy. And I think some of these platforms, obviously they'll come and go and they won't have their day, but it's going to be interesting to see. I think I read a thing from Meta about Threads, and while some people think Threads is now in its flop era after its explosion on day one, actually they're seeing like sustainable growth on it and like seeing creators actually starting to invest in it more. But there's always that initial buzz, right, when everyone's like, oh my god, I'm gonna post on this new platform, but it takes a while for it to actually stick.
It's just so hard with there being so many, even like just new updates within the platforms.
It's exhausting.
Like broadcast channels, you've got we had a call with Meta the other day and I thought it was really interesting how they talked about Instagram as like a sales funnel. So it's like the reels and the carousels are your ways to reach new people, your kind of discovery content.
Yeah.
And then you've got your stories, which are just for your audience, really. You don't really get discovered on stories. And then also just posts, like singular posts. And then you've got your broadcast channels, which are like your most intimate ways of connecting with your audience. Yeah. And your most engaged audience are going to sit in those broadcast channels. But my point being, with all of that to think about, even in just one platform, all of that requires different strategies. Then more platforms, it's just it's tough, isn't it?
My favorite platform, it would have to be Instagram, because it has so many different elements to it, and I think as a consumer it's the most exciting platform, because I can see the people I follow, whether it be my friends or a creator, in so many different ways. And like I just think it's such a cool platform, and it's just, they're constantly innovating and they're constantly one step ahead, I think, at Meta, and they're just doing such cool things. And the way Instagram has changed from like when I first probably got Instagram when I was 13, and I used to post flat lay photos of my makeup with the sepia filter and the little, remember that little like,
oh my god, the things I used
border to post. Oh yeah, I've seen your archives, it's very funny.
It's
very
horrific.
Funny. New nails, like awful. I would love to put in some screenshots, but Verity would never let us.
I think maybe we could. Horrific vibes.
So iconic. But yeah, from that to what it is now is so different.
Yeah.
Whereas a platform like YouTube, don't get me wrong, love YouTube, first socials that I used, it's, apart from shorts, it's relatively similar in format because it works. Yeah. But I think it's really cool that Meta are constantly innovating on Instagram and constantly finding the next thing and trying things out, and it's just a really sick platform.
Yeah, I agree. I would say, however,
that my sick?
I know,
that was
very
awful.
off-brand.
Ew.
My favourite platform has to be TikTok.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bit of an ick.
Is it?
No, I'm joking. I love TikTok.
Is it giving like millennial trying to be like, oh sorry guys,
she's like, I'm
Gen
so
Z.
cool. Guys, I'm not 30.
I like the discovery element. I don't really discover anything new on Instagram.
I agree. And yeah, like I never go on the explore page. I have no interest in that. I just, you know what I hate about TikTok? The DM function. It's rubbish.
Yeah.
I hate it. It really offends me. And like a lot of the time, like the creators that we manage, like I love responding to them and like interacting with them on DMs and stuff. And like just like literally 2 examples from yesterday, like Clouds went to a lunch with Canva.
It looked amazing.
Oh my gosh, the tablescape was sensational, and I DM'd her about it, and then we ended up talking about the Wicked movie and and then Saf posted a Margot Monday episode, and at one point in the video she said Margot was teething on her grandma's Louis Vuitton bag, and it was just the most hilarious thing. And then I DM'd her about that, and I just think you don't have that functionality on TikTok, which is why I don't enjoy it as much. But I guess that's more because it's people I know. Yeah,
no, I completely agree. I think even for creators, like Instagram is community building.
100%.
TikTok is discovery.
Yeah, we've always said that. I think I say that in absolutely every strategy I do because it's so true.
I feel like it's worth us touching on the fact that with all of these new platforms, you know, with Blue Sky coming out of the woodwork and with all of these things to keep up with on Instagram, Meta, TikTok, whatever, it's worth saying that you need to remember to try and look after yourself and look after your mental health in amongst all the chaos.
Yeah, 100%.
And I actually saw a really good post from Grace Andrews on this. She did, boundaries I set to not feel overwhelmed all the time.
Yes, I saw this post.
Yeah, because she says, as a 20-something who works in social media, which obviously I'm 30, but for
that doesn't apply to you,
it applies to people working in least media. It applies to
creators. We're constantly telling our creators to take a rest, take a break. I think I've spoken to at least 4 Sonias this week about that.
Yeah, and it's really hard to do because it feels like everything is riding on each piece of content, and everything is, you know, you need to get that next brand deal and you need to get XYZ, but you're not going to be able to do that if you burn out.
100%.
It was actually the caption that I found really, really good. She said, social media never sleeps, but we have to. Yeah, which I think is so...
For 8 hours.
True. Yes. Something that keeps me up at night as a leader in this space is my responsibility to leave the social media space industry better than I found it. It's not about slowing down. This is a fast-paced, intense industry that requires urgency. It's about finding a way to sustain the speed without losing yourself in it. So it's all about setting your own boundaries.
And I think those boundaries look different for everyone, and that's so important. Like, I like that she isn't saying, like, to have boundaries, you need this, and this, and this. Like, boundaries for you looks different to boundaries for me, which looks different to our Sonias. And we always say management is so personal, and I think that's because every creator's needs are so personal and their boundaries are personal. Like we have some creators who say on this day of the week I'm not going to work, or like I have a creator who's going away for 2.5 weeks and they said for those 2.5 weeks I don't want to work. One of our creators has said they don't want to work for January. Like it's about respecting those boundaries and feeling empowered enough to put those boundaries in place, because it's not all going to disappear if you don't post for one day. Like, I promise you. It does sometimes feel like that, but it's not going to.
Yeah. And what are your top tips for boundarying on social media?
As much as you can, and I know this is so hard as a creator, but trying to set working hours. I think it can often feel like creators need to work 24/7. And I know brands can sometimes be demanding with timelines. And if you get a really exciting opportunity, you want to go for it. And in every job, you work crazy hours sometimes. That's the reality. But if you can try and set rough working hours for yourself, or alternatively a day where you don't work, I think that's a really good way to make it sustainable on a day-to-day level, rather than working till burnout and then having to take 2 months away. Like trying to do it on the day-to-day.
For me, physical boundaries from my phone is actually sometimes the only way I can do it, because if it's here, I'm picking it up and looking at it, tapping it, whatever, touching it, because I'm just like habitually doing that. I actually sleep with my phone in a different room.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you set an alarm?
I have a Lumi.
Oh, smart.
And it has changed the game for me, because even when I'm reading, I'll be like, oh, what about that thing? And then I'll want to grab my phone.
Yeah.
And I will then stop reading and start scrolling. And it's just, I can't seem to, I have to physically separate myself from my phone.
Yeah, that's a
like,
really good tip.
When I went for dinner for my mum's birthday the other day, I left my phone in the house, and it allowed me to be so present at dinner.
Yeah.
And again, sadly, for whatever reason, if I was at dinner and work thought popped into my head, I'd grab my phone.
Yeah.
I'd scroll. But I want to be present with my mum on her birthday.
Yeah, 100%.
So that has helped a lot.
That's really cool. And I think these are both like really actionable points on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's where the boundaries are the most important. Obviously, taking a week off is amazing. But actually, if you don't have boundaries day to day, you can never be sustainable in anything you do, I don't think.
Your days make up your life.
Oh, wow.
I saw that the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
When I was watching the vlog of you on the workcation, and Alice was talking about breaking down goals into like tiny actionable day-to-day steps, and I think that applies to goals but also to rest. It has to be on a day-to-day level.
Absolutely. Talking of Alice, goal setting Alice Benham, we've got a very exciting episode coming with Alice to kick off your new year. Make sure you've got all of your goals set, aligned with your vision.
It's going to be so good.
And Alice is who I've always used to do this, so I'm so excited.
Amazing.
That is the end of this episode with just the two of us. Oh, next week I will be back with a solo episode talking about my trend predictions for the future of influencer marketing. Going a little bit into AI.
Oh.
A little bit into tech platforms and what I expect to see. And also how to be a networking queen.
Because you are a networking queen, honestly. Verity is my blueprint of how to network.
Oh. We would love if you've enjoyed this episode or series, if you could hit share it with another friend or creator or someone else you think would love this series. It would mean the world. And be sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode either.
You can also follow us on socials. Just search at TBH Talent and at Lifting the Lid Pod. You can also watch this podcast on YouTube as well as our vlogs. Just search TBH Talent.
We'll see you next time.
Bye!